Hey, how you doing? This is my OP Frost Mage build for Titan Quest 2. Let's dive into the setup. First off, the attributes. Knowledge is your main attribute as it allows you to wear all sorts of mage focused armor, as it will have more stats on them that is catered for magic use. It also contributes towards cunning and resolve being the basis for your cold damage. Secondly, you can put a couple of points into vigor, as that also contributes to resolve, which adds to your cold damage. And then lastly, you can add points to might and agility as needed, depending on the gear that you want to wear. Next up, masteries. Your primary mastery will be Storm, and your primary ability that you're using to attack will be Ice Shards. You want 17 points maximum spent into Ice Shards, and the modifiers that you want is 3 out of 3 Chaos and 3 out of 3 Homing. To enable Chaos, you must have at least 1 point in Torrent. We currently have 2 points, as we want the additional projectiles. Chaos, 3 out of 3 gives you 12 additional projectiles, meaning you will have projectiles flying all over the screen. It is our random directions, however, but this is where the homing comes in. Homing allows those projectiles to home in on your enemies and shoot them wherever they may be. Infused Shard, you want 1 out of 5 for that, as it deals additional cold damage based on your reserved energy. We will be reserving a lot of energy in the next skill, so you have a boost there. And then finally, you want at least 1 point in projectile penetration, as you want your ice shards to penetrate and go through at least 1 layer of enemies. You are free, however, to swap out a point between Torrent and Infused Shards how you want. I prefer an additional projectile over a small bump in percentage over the reserved energy. Next skill you want is your Storm Nimbus, which is the aura. You want 17 points max into that, and your modifier will be Storm Enhancement, 5 out of 5. This grants you an aura with an additional 40% increased cold damage and reserves 50 energy, adding to the damage that your Ice Shards does. Then you want Cold Imbuement. You need at least 1 point in here, but 2 points gives you an additional cold damage and reserves more energy, which gives you more damage also. Cold Imbuement grants you 100% weapon damage converted to cold damage. We will see how this works once we get to the itemization. And then you have 1 point left over, which you can do whatever you want. I prefer to put it into Frost Armor, just for a little bit of extra survivability. Lastly, we have Cyclone. This is optional. I mostly use this as an support skill. You can play totally without this. I do find it useful for large groups of enemies and even boss fights. This provides a nice chill effect on the enemies. So Cyclone, I take 3 out of 3 in Blizzard. This converts the Cyclone into a Blizzard, which covers a large area and adds additional 60% base ailment chance to freeze enemies. Escalation, I've added 2 points into Escalation. This is optional again, as it gives you additional cold damage while you stand inside. You can, however, change this out if you want more maneuverability, more movement. You can go for Blink if you rather want that. The main 2 skills that you need is Ice Shards and Storm Nimbus. For passives, you want 12 points into Raging Mind, And your modifiers will be ailment chance to freeze and chill enemies more, and crit chance for your spells. Then you want Storm Affliction, 12 points into Storm Affliction, and also Max Chill as a modifier, increase your chill chance, and chill power. Then lastly, Storm Guidance, 10 points into Storm Guidance, homing, this increases the homing effectiveness of your projectiles even more, and it does, however, reduce projectile speed, but that is countered by additional projectile speed, which you take through the speed modifier. But the most important thing here that we want is the additional projectile range. This will help the projectiles go off screen and even kill enemies off screen. As our second mastery, we chose Earth. And we're not using any active skills in Earth, just some passive skills. And for that, we do Grant Magic, as we want the additional spell damage to boost our damage even more. 12 points into Grant Magic, and we choose spell damage and cost. We are not concerned about the cost, as the energy efficiency of the ice shards is pretty insane, and you will not have a problem with running out of energy. Then, as a second modifier, you can choose whether you want ailment chance or crit chance. I prefer ailment chance for the additional chill and freeze. Next up, items. Most important item in your arsenal is your weapon. You want the highest damage weapon you can find. It does not matter what the element is on it. You just want the highest damage. The reason for that is the Storm Nimbus Cold Imbuement grants you 100% weapon damage converted to cold. So any damage that is on the weapon is converted to cold, which adds to your overall damage. This Glacial Fire Scepter of Devastation that I'm currently equipping is primarily fire damage, but it converts it to cold damage. If I turn my aura off, you will see the scepter returning to its original state. Once I turn my aura on, it converts the damage to cold. Next, on your weapon, you want increased cold damage or increased spell damage, or both if you can find. And then after that, you are looking for increased ailment chance. Next, your boots. Definitely movement speed is your go-to. Neck, you're looking for percentage increased attributes. This will increase all your knowledge, might, agility, and so forth. For rings, you want increased damage. In this case, increased cold damage and increased spell damage on your rings. For the rest of your gear, you are looking for increased cold or spell damage, ailment chance, crit chance, resistances for anything that you're lacking or you feel you need more resistances of, knowledge, and health if you are struggling with survivability, which you shouldn't, but you can add health. Right, let's see this in action. chaos modifier of the ice shards is causing the projectiles to go in all directions, but the homing modifier helps it to bend around and go towards the nearest enemies. The randomness of the chaos modifier actually helps a lot if you are suddenly swarmed by enemies all around you, as the projectiles will then go in all directions instantly, instead of you having to turn around and shoot in all directions, as demonstrated here. As you notice, the projectiles are hitting enemies off screen also. You would have noticed also the energy pretty much is almost full the whole time. I don't even need to use my shield, my barrier. And that is the blizzard. It lasts pretty long. And as long as I stand in the blizzard, I get a small boost to damage also. It is, however, not a primary attack, but it does help if you are overwhelmed. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my OP Frost Mage. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you soon.